So far, we've looked at how to summarize and describe data for one variable. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to summarize and describe data for two variables. First, let's look at what's called cross-tabulation. So a cross-tabulation is a table that summarizes data for two variables. Let's look at this example. I have a sample of 105 students, and I group them not only by major but also by gender. The idea is each of the cells gives me the number of observations that satisfy both categories. Right? So, for example, the number 8 here tells me that there are 8 accounting students who are male in my sample. The number 17 here tells me that there are 17 management majors who are female. The number 1 here tells me that there's one student who is a female who majors in real estate. If you add the numbers horizontally, you should get the total number of students by row. So, in other words, we have 18 students who are accounting majors. This is the sum of 10 and 8. We have 10 students who are finance majors. This is the sum of 4 and 6, right? And so on and so forth. Similarly, if you add things up vertically, you get the total number of observations in the in the vertical category. In other words, if you add up all these numbers for male, you have the total number of males in the sample. If you add all these numbers for females, you have the total number of females in the sample. Finally, we want to be talking about scatter plot and trend line. So a scatter plot is a graphical display of the relationship between two variables. So let's look at an example. What I have here is a data set with time spent studying outside of class and grade point average for 10 students. So the first student spends 1 hour studying outside of class and his or her GPA is 2.0. The second student spends 2 hours studying outside of class and his or her GPA is 2.2, and so on and so forth. Right? If we plot this, if we plot time on the x-axis and GPA on the y-axis, we have what's called the scatter plot. Right? So for the first student, who spends 1 hour studying, his or her GPA is 2, so we have a dot for that student. For the second student, he or she spends 2 hours studying, his or her GPA is 2.2, we have a dot. Right? So if we have a dot for all 10 students, we have the scatter plot for this data set. Okay? The trend line, which is the dotted line here in the graph, is a line that provides an approximation of the relationship. So in this problem, it seems that the more time you spend studying, the higher your GPA is, and so the relationship between these two variables is positive. later in the course, but more likely next semester, you're gonna learn how to estimate the equation of this trend line.